We made it. Happy Monday. It is the 8th day of February 2021. This is Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Hope you enjoyed Super Bowl LV yesterday. Bit of a snoozer. Unless you were a Tampa Bay fan, then you're having a really good Monday so far. But football season's over and we move forward for another exciting week and get ready for the cold. We've been talking about this last 3-4 days, and it's coming our way after unseasonably warm weather for the first week in February. I mean, close to record high temperatures. We're going to go the exact other way. And all those 50, 52 degree highs that we had for, I don't know, 4 or 5 days in a row, that's going to be a distant memory by the time we get to the middle of the week. Big Arctic blast is coming down, and we got it easy compared to some locations in the Pacific Northwest and certainly in the upper Midwest, the Dakotas, Missouri, Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin, eastern Montana. They're going to get really cold. So count your blessings. Forecast details are coming up. We got some news for you. Yeah, we got some Super Bowl talk. In case you missed it, the Buccaneers won. Just spoiler alert there. Also, we'll have the obscure holiday. Today in history, some celebrity birthdays. Mike McNally's got an opinion. And tomorrow is Election Day. Not for everybody, but for some folks. I had a chance to sit down with Chelan County Auditor Skip Moore on Friday to pre-tape our interview. We're going to play that for you today. I'll let you know what you need to be voting on if you live in the Wenatchee School District, the Manson School District, or the Cascade School District. That's in Chelan County. I believe the only one of substance in Douglas County is in the Orondo School District. And almost all of these are EP&O levies, either new ones or renewals of existing ones. Skip will be my guest in the back half of the program. Snowing lightly, 31 degrees outside of our studios. Megan pushes the button, and I sit here and act like I know what I'm doing. Good morning, Wenatchee Valley. Hey, we're almost to 10 hours of daylight. We're getting close. Sunrise this morning will be at 7:16. It's right around the corner. Sunset tonight, 5:14. 9 hours and 58 minutes of daylight. And tomorrow we flip it. We get past the 10-hour mark. We're gaining about anywhere from 90 seconds to about 100 seconds of daylight a day. Doesn't seem like much, but it all adds up in the end. Good morning to the Wenatchee Valley. And again, last I checked, about 15 minutes ago, it was snowing lightly outside of our studios here on the valley floor. Some locations I've noticed are getting a little bit more snow. Boy, did the passes just get hammered. It started snowing on Friday morning in the Cascades. I don't think it's stopped yet. We'll take a look at the passes here in just a couple minutes. Camera number 2. Ooh, I want to say Cougar Ridge, and I would want to say that I am correct. Hi, Cougar Ridge. That's the Otabashian Bridge to your right. That's how I know it's Cougar Ridge. It's a camera we used quite a bit, and then we quit using it. Now we're using it again, and I'm all for that. So you can see the Otabashian Bridge in the old station area at the bottom of your screen, and a little sliver of the Columbia River from Cougar Ridge, courtesy of Sky-Fi, Localtel's high-speed wireless internet setup. Camera number 3. Beautiful view from, let's see, we're looking to the west. I want to say perhaps Steins. That's the monitor camera. Come on, Dan. Monitor camera. So good morning to our friends. Well, it's Cashmere off in the distance. Monitor down below. You can see the mighty Wenatchee River to your left. That's a nice view from there. Looks like a lot of people had a lot of snow melt. We hit 50 on Saturday. A little cooler yesterday, 44. Now our normal high this time of the year is about 40 degrees. Our temperatures are gonna be lower than a gopher's basement by the time we get to Wednesday and Thursday. Wait till you see the forecast. Camera number, are we up to 4? And it's off to see Lake Chelan from Bear Mountain. The Bear Mountain camera. There we go. It's the little channel there where Lake Chelan gets real narrow that you see off to your left, and then of course it widens back up as you head up towards Tehican and Lucerne. A little shot of Manson over there. Still some snow up in the Chelan area. Everybody, by the way, is going to get cold. Well, nobody's escaping it. But the nice thing is blasted Arctic air. This kind of nudge in there a little bit. But holy moly, we're going to get cool down. Now, as far as winds are concerned, that's really not going to be much of an issue. We're not going to have any winds here in the Wenatchee Valley. The lee of the Cascades are going to protect us, but some locations, especially to the north of us and out in the Columbia Basin, you're going to have winds, and you factor in the very cold temperatures coming our way with the wind chill, and it could feel downright cold. And I mean cold. And as far as the mountain passes are concerned, yeah, it's still snowing there. They've just been measuring it in feet, not inches, at Stevens Pass and Snoqualmie Pass, and even Blewett, which normally doesn't get a lot of snow, is getting a lot of snow. But once they get through today, that's going to be about it. They're going to be kind of quiet up in the Cascades. But again, everybody is going to start feeling Mother Nature's icy cold wrath this week from the National Weather Service. We're dealing with partly cloudy skies today. You see that high of 38. That's actually a couple of degrees below normal. Now, we haven't had afternoon high temperature below normal in a very long period of time with that unseasonably warm weather. Well, as you can tell, that's going to change. Look at the overnight low Thursday night into Friday. 9 degrees, single digits. That's cold. All of these temperatures, all of them well below normal. A good perhaps 20 degrees below normal, not only for our afternoon high, but our overnight lows, especially towards the middle to the end part of the week. And it looks like the long-term forecast says it's going to stay this way for a while. This cold Arctic air is going to come down. It's got no place to go. It's going to be super cold in Texas and Oklahoma. They're usually not used to cold temperatures that cold. And here in the Wenatchee Valley, it's going to be cold, but again, it could be worse. We could be like in Billings, Montana, where it's going to be like minus 25 degrees. I don't think anybody likes that. And by the way, a couple of spiffles of snow here and there, but no significant accumulation. All right, so get ready for the cold temperatures. Take you up to the major mountain passes. It's been a mess up there. They've been doing avalanche control work over the weekend. They had to close I-90 a couple of times yesterday. It's open now, but it's a chain requirement on all cars unless you have an all-wheel drive. And don't forget, you have to carry chains in your car if you're driving over the mountain passes. That's the requirement. It is snowing hard, as you might imagine, on I-90, and it has been for a while. Again, chains are required on Snoqualmie Pass unless you have an all-wheel drive rig. Stevens has a traction tire requirement. It is snowing. You got compact snow and ice on the roadway. Folks are heading up to the ski resort to take the day off and doing a little skiing, but it is still a dicey drive. And Blewett has a traction tire advisory with some light snow coming down and some snow and slush on the roadway, and some of it is caught back down pretty good. So Blewett has a traction tire advisory. I-90 has a chain requirement, and Stevens has a traction tire requirement. So depending on where you go. Now the snow should be tapering off, they tell us, a little bit later on this morning into the afternoon hours. And then they're not going to really have a lot of snow. They're going to have a little snow here and a little snow there in the mountain passes. They're going to take a break. They're going to get a break so the plows can maybe get some of the work done. But of course, it's going to be bitterly cold in the Cascades too, so there's not going to be a lot of snow melt. Next significant snow, maybe 2-3 inches come Wednesday up in the Cascades. So if you can avoid it one more day, it's probably not a bad idea, but you will definitely find winter driving conditions on the Big Three. Going to take a break, come back, and we will have your Monday morning news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
Having a relationship with your pediatrician is so important. Feeling that sense of trust, that is priceless. I tell everybody about CBCH. I love it there. When I make an appointment, I don't have to take an entire day off. As a working mom, my life is really busy. Family time is everything. That's what we all work towards. And I feel like CBCH respects that.
Low prices. Every aisle. Every department. Every day. We're working to save you money. Winco.
Now in Wenatchee at 1340 North Wenatchee Avenue.
9 minutes after the hour, some spittles of snow, if you will, and we're at 31 degrees with overcast conditions. We'll top off in the upper 30s today. It's going to be a little bit below normal, and then it's going to get really cold. As the week progresses, we're just going to see our temperatures get colder and colder and colder. Here's your headlines. A Wenatchee man who assaulted a convenience store worker in the process of stealing alcohol and candy bars must serve probation and undergo substance abuse treatment. 22-year-old Dale Richard Alderman pleaded guilty to second-degree theft and third-degree assault for the New Year's Day incident. in which he struggled with a clerk who tried to detain him. Chelan County Judge Travis Brandt sentenced him on Wednesday to 3 to 6 months in residential drug treatment plus 2 years of supervision. Speaking of Wenatchee police, after the Wenatchee police asked for help on Thursday locating a suspect wanted on multiple warrants, the man they were seeking apparently took exception. Police were looking for David Ernesto Lopez, but in a response to their Facebook post, the man in their photo, now calling himself David Rodriguez, first offered up some laughing emojis, and they then advised police to focus on real criminals, saying he was going to take care of his warrants and police were, quote, suckers, unquote. Wenatchee Police Captain Brian Chance said on Friday he's convinced Rodriguez is in fact Lopez, but police will not be responding to his posts other than to say they're still looking for him. Chance added that posting about suspects on social media is a common practice in law enforcement, and Lopez should not feel singled out. A real estate developer who tried to poison a rival's trees in 2014 has had his conviction for the crime vacated. 52-year-old Ted Schroth, a Bellevue owner-developer of Chelan Lookout, he heaped salt around the base of 123 young poplar trees belonging to a neighboring housing development. He pled guilty to second-degree malicious mischief and was sentenced to 45 days in jail. Well, he was able to ask for his conviction to be expunged after 5 years with no further criminal convictions. And on Friday, Chelan County Court Commissioner Scott Volan granted that request. Volan also agreed to restore Schroth's right to possess a firearm. Now, in addition to jail time, Schroth was ordered to pay more than $156,000 to the owners of the trees. We had the latest real estate snapshot for the month of January from Pacific Appraisal Associates, and the new year started out with new home listings way up, total sales way down. January 2021 saw new home listings up by 17%, while total sales are down by 25%. Meanwhile, active listings were up 10% in January compared to December of last year, but are down 67% from January of 2020. Year-to-date median sales price of a home in the Wenatchee Valley, $379,000. That's up 17% over the same period last year. And there's an election tomorrow with several North Central Washington communities voting on school funding measures, including voters in the Wenatchee, Manson, and Cascade School District. Chelan County Auditor Skip Moore says that turnout for tomorrow's election so far has been low, but he says voting in off-year elections like this is very important.
Right now with levies and schools, the passage for a levy to pass is a simple majority, which is 50% or to pass or fail. To pass, it has to have 50% plus one ballot to have passed. That's a simple majority. Since these are all levies, they're in that category. There's no state, there's no there's not a number or validation number, which is the number used to determine X number has to participate at all. This is just a simple majority, which gets to people need to be involved to let their voices heard. Otherwise, it's very conceivable that you can have a number, you can have less than half the people in the district vote yes, or excuse me, you could have less than the half participate, and they vote yes or no. So now you're down to 25% of the eligible voters in that district are determining what this other 75% get. That's why turnout is so important.
And again, my complete conversation with Skip Moore will air in the second half of this morning's edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. And that is your news at 14 minutes after the hour. Grant and the whole crew will be here putting together a newscast for you. We think it's important that our viewers be informed about what's going on in the Wenatchee Valley and North Central Washington. And with a little preview of what we're working on, here's Grant.
Thank you, Dan, and good Monday morning. Coming up tonight on the NCW Life Evening News, I hope you didn't put away those heavy winter clothes just yet because the coldest temperatures of the season are upon us. I'll have your complete North Central Washington weather forecast. And in sports, what else? Eric Granstrom will have reaction and highlights to yesterday's Super Bowl in Tampa. That and all the day's news stories coming up tonight at 5, 6, and 10 on the NCW Life Evening News. We hope to see you then. Dan?
Thank you, Grant. Don't forget, if you want to get a hold of us, we try and give you as many tools in the toolbox as that's available. You can use our Facebook app. Go to our Facebook page and just use Messenger and drop us a note. You can email us directly. Might be the best way to go. Email us news at ncwlife.com, news at ncwlife.com. You can pick up the telephone and call us at the number that you see at the bottom of your screen, or you can go to our homepage, ncwlife.com, and click on the Contact Us icon. The form pops right up, and it's down the road you go. Going to take a break. There was a football game, I'm told, yesterday afternoon. We'll talk about that when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life channel.
2021 models are arriving at Sangster Motors. General Motors is on the move with the all-new 2021 Yukon. Yukon is redesigned from the ground up with a bold new look and all the latest technology. Also new is the Canyon AT4 pickup. This off-road equipped mid-size truck will challenge any rival for performance and value. Both of these models will offer Duramax diesel options for maximum power and economy. The American Challenge is game on at Sangster Motors now.
Are you ready to freshen up your home? Boswell's expansive two-story showroom is filled with high-quality furniture that's always discounted to give you their best price every day. Boswell's is receiving new furniture deliveries each week, so you'll be sure to find just what you need for your home without the wait. Complimentary design assistance and free local delivery. Superior customer service and the best value for your money. Start at Boswell's on Easy Street. It's closer than you think.
Just about 17 minutes after the hour. On this Monday, sports, Tom Brady proved once again that age is just a number. The 43-year-old quarterback leading Tampa Bay to a 31-9 win over Kansas City, Super Bowl 55 yesterday. It was Brady's 7th championship. He completed 21 of 29 passes, 201 yards, 3 touchdowns. Tight end Rob Gronkowski was on the receiving end of 2 of those scoring strikes. Tampa Bay winning its 2nd title in franchise history. On the other side of the ball, it was a long night for 25-year-old Patrick Mahomes, playing without his 2 starting tackles because of injury. He was left running all over the field for his life. He was sacked 3 times, hit 8 times, threw a couple of interceptions. A lot of viewers were shocked to see how many fans were in the stands at Raymond James Stadium. In actuality, about 25,000 fans were in attendance, and another 30,000 cardboard cutouts made it look like more people were there. The NFL gave out 7,500 tickets to vaccinated healthcare workers in recognition for their service during the pandemic. Prior to Sunday's game, the NFL handed out their awards for the 2020 season, and our very own Russell Wilson selected the Walter Payton Man of the Year. The award goes to the player who exemplified the type of person Walter Payton was, giving of his time and energy off the field as much as on the field. Wilson says just being nominated is an honor of itself.
The Walter Payton Man of the Year award, to me, it represents excellence, not just on the field, but more importantly off the field. I think that in life, we're granted and given the opportunity to have an impact. I think Walter Payton was one of the greatest examples of what he was able to do, not just on the field, but more importantly off the field, to give back and to serve and to love and to care. You know, my dad's in heaven right now, and I'm sure he's smiling. I was one of his favorite athletes of all time. For me, I think it's a blessing because I've been able to be around so many amazing young kids, so many amazing people. Just, I think to be able to give back. You know, the reality is that, you know, much is given, much is required. To be even mentioned with a name like Walter Payton is one of the greatest blessings that I could ever have, and one of the greatest honors ever.
Russell Wilson becomes the 2nd Seahawk to win the Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Steve Largent from the Hall of Fame. He won it back in 1988. So with the award comes a $250,000 check that the NFL gives to Russell Wilson and his wife Sierra's foundation called the Why Not You Foundation. Congratulations to Russell. Let's recap the weekend that was in college basketball. We'll start out with the men. Oregon sank 12 three-pointers, had a huge edge in rebounds. They beat Washington 86-74 in Eugene. The Huskies were led by the 23 points of Quadre Green and the 13 points from Jamal Bay. In Corvallis, Washington State's late run at Oregon State came up short. Cougars lost 68-66. Isaac Bonton intentionally missing a free throw with 3 seconds left. Tried to get the offensive rebound, but the Beavers corralled the ball, and that was it. DJ Rodman led Wazoo with 14 points. Coach Kyle Smith says, hey, I'm happy with the play of my team, even though we did lose.
Just a really tough battle. Thought our guys, we played hard. We did a lot of good things. We got on the offensive boards. We struggled a little bit with their matchup zone to start both halves. But we eventually broke through both halves and kind of worked our way back in the lead, and then just couldn't get a break there down the stretch.
Cougars are now 11-6 on the basketball season with Saturday's loss. All right, coming up tonight as part of ESPN's Big Monday, the number 1 ranked Gonzaga Bulldogs will be at BYU. Tonight's game is another one of those that the Bulldogs had to move around in the schedule after cancellations due to COVID. ESPN, 8 o'clock tonight. On the women's college basketball scoreboard from over the weekend, Charlize Ledger-Walker hit a three-pointer with 42 seconds left, and that gave the Cougars a lead it wouldn't give back. Cougars upsetting number 5 ranked UCLA on Friday, 67-63. Ledger-Walker finishing with a game-high 28 points. Coach Cammie Etheridge said it was a great bounce-back effort after last week when they got creamed by Stanford.
Kind of blown away that we were able to pull it off, and really proud from our team. Knew we had to bounce back in some ways, that it's, after playing and getting pounded a little bit by Stanford, regrouping a young team is not always definite. You don't know that your team will respond the right way, but I thought they really, bought into just trying to grow through this and understand that you can get better even when you play and lose to top 10s and top 5 teams in the country, and really just took it another step, knowing that, UCLA guards different, really good. They're awesome defensively, but they are very different than how Stanford guards. So, it was nice to see us adjust and get back to a little bit more ball movement and see the ball go through the basket. So just proud of this team, happy that they can experience a win against a top 5 team in the country.
Also on Friday, USC overcame a 4-point deficit at the half, and they beat the Huskies 63-54. Then on Sunday, Washington State couldn't carry the momentum from Friday's upset. They lost to the Trojans 81-71, but UCLA, they had no trouble bouncing back, beating the Huskies 84-50. Louisville struggled down the stretch, but they got a crucial three-pointer from Dana Evans in the closing seconds. Cardinals holding off Notre Dame 71-65. Evans led the way with 27 points. Haley Van Lith saw limited playing time. She was only on the court for about 15 minutes and scored 3 points. It'll be interesting to see the rankings. They'll come out later today, where Louisville will be in the top 10. Of course, they're the number 1 ranked team in the country until they lost to North Carolina State last week. To the NHL scoreboard from yesterday, there were other sporting events going on. The Flyers beat the Capitals 7-4. Golden Knights clipping the Kings 4-3. Blackhawks over the Stars 2-1. And the Red Wings went into Florida, beat the Panthers 4-1. 6 different players scoring goals for the Hurricanes in their victory over the Blue Jackets. And here's your schedule today. It's the Islanders and the Rangers in New York City at 4 o'clock. Also at 4, the Hurricanes and the Blue Jackets, Oilers and the Senators. The Leafs host the Canucks. Nashville welcomes Tampa Bay. And at 5 o'clock, also, as you got the Coyotes and the Blues. And those are just some of the games that people are playing on this Monday. I had 4 obscure holidays to choose from for this February 8th. Today is National Boy Scouts Day because the Boy Scouts was founded on this date. I can't remember when. I'm sorry, I just drew a blank. Today is National Clean Out Your Computer Day, which is always a good idea. Today is National Football Hangover Day. The football season's over, folks, and get used to it. No, today is National Kite Flying Day. Yeah, it is. February 8th is National Kite Flying Day. Flying kites are fun, but not in February. They think kite flying goes back about 9,500, well, longer than that even. I think it goes back about 11,000 years, the idea of flying kites. Kites were used to deliver the mail during the Civil War. That's kind of interesting. The world's longest kite flight, 180 hours. Somebody kept a kite in the air for 180 consecutive hours. That's impressive. The largest kite in the world, 3,394 feet. The longest kite, I should say. That's how high up it got. That's a ways. The highest that a kite has ever flown, though, was at 2,400 feet, but that wasn't on the ground, so maybe that doesn't count. Each year, 12 people are killed in kite-related accidents. The best wind, I discovered this because I have a couple of kites and I fly them occasionally. I looked this up. The best wind to have an enjoyable kite flying session, about a consistent wind from the same direction of about 8 to about 13 miles an hour. That's just about perfect because you can just fly the kite and just watch it fly and don't have to worry about controlling it or anything like that. By the way, they do, in Thailand, they have kite fighting, and it has 78 different rules. I don't know. Go out and fly a kite on a cold winter's day. Why isn't that like in early May? I don't know. I don't make these things up. Today in history, happy birthday to time zones. That's ours. There you go. Take a look. Sanford Fleming first proposes the adoption of a universal standard time at a meeting of the Royal Canadian Institute. Happened on this date 142 years ago today, February 8th, 1879. His proposal, we take the world and we divvy it up into 24 time zones, each one covering about 15 degrees of longitude, and all clocks within that zone would be set to the same time as the others, but differed by 1 hour depending on what side of the zone you were on. How did this whole thing came about? Pretty simple. Railroads. Before the advent of the railroad, it took a long time to get from point A to point B, and it didn't really matter what the time was in Indianapolis or New York. As far as you were concerned, it was kind of the same time because you couldn't cover a lot of real estate before the advent of trains, and all of a sudden trains came along and you could travel hundreds and hundreds of miles in a single day, and everybody said that doesn't make any sense. You should probably figure something out. By the way, Sanford Fleming's idea rejected by the Royal Canadian Institute, but they got their act together. Let's see, everybody likes a good escape story. This is a phenomenal one. February 8th, 1945, 76 years ago today, Mikhail Devyatev and 9 other Soviet POWs escaped from a Nazi concentration camp. Mikhail Devyatev was a pilot. He was shot down in 1943. He realized as a Soviet pilot he was going to be tortured and subjected to brutality, so he exchanged identities with a dead Soviet infantryman so the Nazis wouldn't know he was a pilot, and eventually he ended up at a prisoner of war camp in Euston, which is a small island in the Baltic Sea, and they didn't know he was a pilot, and it was an island, so the only way to get off and on was through an airplane. So at 12 noon on February 8th, 1945, as the rest of the Nazi guards went to go have lunch, and there was the 10 Soviet POWs and just 1 guard, including Devyatev, one of the POWs. They were working on the runway at the airport. One of the work gang picked up a crowbar, killed the guard. Another prisoner took off his clothes, got into the guard's uniform, and then the work gang, led by the fake guard, simply marched down the runway, hopped in the commandant's plane, and flew it away. I like that. Happened on this date 76 years ago today. And this is not photoshopped. That's a real photo. Yikes. The Melbourne dust storm hits Australia's second largest city. Of course, this is February of 1983. This is 38 years ago. And of course, February is the height of summer in the southern hemisphere. They had a huge, terrible drought, no rain at all for months on end. And then they had a huge cold front come through, and it picked up all this dust and all this dirt, and they simply picked it up and carried it. That thing is 1,000 feet high and 1,000 feet deep. Everything got dirty. Day turned into night in Melbourne 38 years ago today. Can you imagine cleaning out the filters in your HVAC system after that? 29 minutes after the hour birthdays, the great Audrey Meadows will always be known as Alice Cramden on the Honeymooners. Here's Audrey, what a sweetheart. She was when she read for the part of Alice Cramden with Jackie Gleason, he said, "You're way too pretty," because this takes place in a cold water flat in Brooklyn. So she went home, she hired a professional photographer, she washed off all of her makeup, she put on a frumpy coat, took pictures, sent them off to Jackie Gleason, and he said, "You're hired." And the best thing about Audrey Meadows is that her brother Ed was a lawyer, and he had to put into her contract residuals, which nobody had ever done before. Only the owners of the show, in this case Jackie Gleason, will be getting residuals. But he said, no, Audrey, put in your contract so every time The Honeymooners airs another episode with you in it, you get money. And it made her a multimillionaire. As you might imagine, Audrey Meadows, born in the state in 1922, died in 1996 at the age of 73. Jack Lemmon, born in the state in 1925, would have been 96 years old today. American actor. He was an 8-time Academy Award nominee. He won the Best Supporting Actor for Mr. Roberts, and he won the Best Oscar Actor for Save the Tiger. Jack Lemmon, born in the state in 1925. We lost Jack 20 years ago. James Dean, the Rebel Without a Cause. He only starred in 3 movies. That was it. Of course, he died in a car accident in 1955 at the age of 24, but he was only in 3 movies. East of Eden, Rebel Without a Cause, and Giant, and yet he remains an American cultural icon. In fact, he was the first actor ever to get an Academy Award nomination after he died. James Dean, born in the state in 1931. That would make him 90 today, I believe. John Grisham celebrates birthday number 66. Of course, he's a lawyer, and then he started getting into writing in the 1980s, and he's done pretty good for himself. He has written 28 consecutive New York Times bestsellers, #1 bestsellers. That's impressive, John Grisham. And of course, his books make pretty good movies, too. And Cecily Strong from Saturday Night Live. She's been part of the cast for the last 8 years. Cecily is 37 years old today. Going to take a break. At 31 minutes after the hour, we have an opinion from Mike Magnotti, and then the Chelan County Auditor, Skip Moore, will be joining us. There's an election tomorrow for you folks. Don't forget, you got to vote. Skip will talk about that when we come back. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Live channel.
My name is Brian Thorpe. I own Global Car Care in Wenatchee and have been here for about 25 years.
Brian started Global Car Care as Brian's automotive alternative on Orondo Street.
Some customers were following Brian since Brian's automotive time.
No, we're just grateful to be part of this community. This is where I grew up. We want to do our part to be a valuable part of this community. We want to thank you for trusting our business for 25 years.
How much are you paying for adult, family, or assisted living? Epladolin Retirement and Assisted Living offers 1-bedroom apartments for one affordable price. Their rates are all-inclusive, no nickel or diming or sudden increases, just one set price. You or your loved one will receive good food and excellent care in a relaxed, home-like environment. Stop on by for a tour to see if the Epladolin family is the right choice for you.
Family-owned and operated Epladolin Retirement and Assisted Living in Cashmere. Affordable care.
At Washington Trust Bank, can't is a 4-letter word.
I think we should hire more people.
Doc, I'm late for a meeting. I'm thinking of starting my own practice.
Do it. Too much capital.
We need a warehouse.
I can't imagine how we do that.
We should knock that wall down and expand.
Do it. There's always another wall beyond the wall.
We believe you can do whatever you set your mind to, and we'll help you get there. Washington Trust Bank, privately owned, locally invested.
This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. Now, I have this big sign on my office wall that says 4 rules. And there are 4 of them, but the third rule is this. The more responsibility I accept for my life, my actions, my thoughts, my behaviors, the better chance I have for my life to go the way I want it to. Now, we as humans would often rather blame someone else for the stuff that happens to us. Now, I'm not saying others don't let us down and don't disappoint us. That's true. But what can we do about that? Nothing. The only person we can control is ourselves. What we can do is consider what is happening in our lives and determine what we have contributed to that particular situation and adjust our participation either by stop doing what's making things bad or keep on doing the things that make our life go well. But if you instead want to blame other people and wait for them to change for your life to improve, well, good luck with that. This is Mike Mad Dog Magnotti, and that's my opinion.
Yahoo, Wenatchee Valley! Super sale has begun. Savings up to 50% off quality brands such as Joseph, Tribal, Karen Kane, Nick and Zoe, Habitat, French Dressing, selected sweaters, tunics, jackets, jeans, handbags, wallets, jewelry, boots, etc., etc. Freshen your wardrobe. Help us make room for all the new spring fashions. Comfy and cute styles will be shipping soon. Collins and Brighton have a darling heart necklace as a gift with the Brighton purchase of $100 or more. Thank you for shopping local at Collins, where fun meets fashion in downtown Wenatchee.
I'm Tom from Alpine Air Heating and Cooling. At Alpine Air, we think of ourselves as customer service-oriented retailers. When you make an appointment, please visit our store, meet our people, see our shop. We are serious about heating and air conditioning. Carrier and Alpine Air are offering huge factory rebates and financing options for all your needs. Turn to the experts at Carrier and Alpine Air. Call for your free replacement estimate. Heat and air, call Alpine Air, 662-6846.
Contractors, furniture makers, and weekend do-it-yourselfers around north central Washington will tell you that Lombard's Hardwood Supply is the place to get what you need. Lombard's full millwork shop can handle jobs large or small. Lombard's has a full line of interior and exterior doors available, as well as custom barn doors. From alderwood to zebrawood and everything in between, it's Lombard's Hardwood Supply on School Street in Sunny Slope. Like us on Facebook and check out our monthly special.
Alta Cellars Winery is a family-owned boutique winery featuring structured wines from some of the most sought-after vineyards in Washington. Time-honored winemaking techniques blend with New World style to create reds and whites that are captivating. Located in the original firehouse in downtown Manson, the spacious indoor-outdoor setting provides the perfect backdrop to indulge in a sit-down wine experience. You're invited to come enjoy this firsthand at Alta Cellars, now open in Manson.
We are back on Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Tomorrow, Tuesday, February 9th, is Election Day for a great many people in our viewing area. And whenever we have an election day, I endeavor to bring in our local auditors. Didn't need to bring in Thad Duvall this year, the Douglas County Auditor, because it's just not a lot of decisions to be made in Douglas County. But for you folks in Chelan County, you got some EP&O levies and some replacement capital levies and a few other things to decide on by close of business tomorrow. And to talk about that, the auditor of Chelan County, our good friend Skip Moore, is back. Hey, how are you, my friend?
I'm well. We got through November. So.
You got through November. Let's talk about that, because this is the last time I saw you. In fact, I had you and Thad on.
Yes.
On Election Day back on November 3rd. And I have to give credit where credit is due. I went back and looked at the tape. Both you and Thad were thinking right around an 85% turnout, which I thought was a little much because we had an 80% turnout in the 2016 general election. 86.2% turnout. You just about nailed that right on the head, Skip.
Every now and again, I guess I get lucky. Well, you look at it, and then you looked at how much was going on nationally, and you could just see it was amazing. I mean, the turnout. It's nice to see people getting involved. That's the important thing. I hope we can continue to see that type of participation, because it's important. A lot of decisions are made by whomever gets elected, and especially this is an off year. The scary part is being an off year elections. We're going to have school boards and city positions up in the fall, and you know what? Those are actually, I think, the most important offices as far as impacting you and I locally on a day-to-day basis.
As Tip O'Neill once said, all politics are local, and you're right. The decisions that really affect your life on a day-to-day basis are almost always made from the local level, be it a school board or a city council or a county commission, that kind of deal.
Certainly, and we got the fall coming up, so I'm hoping that we can see some spillover or spillover is not the right word, continuation of that citizen engagement, because that's important, quite important.
Over 50,000 registered voters in Chelan County, and 43,634 ended up casting their ballots for an 86% turnout. How many people had been long time, and if you don't know the answer, I apologize for asking the question, how many people had been eligible to register to vote and never did, and finally said, I'm registering so I can vote the 2020 general election? My guess is you probably had a few people come in and say, I think I want to now get involved.
Yes, we had the number. I don't know the exact number, but I I spoke with enough folks that were that had come into the office, and finding out that, well, this is the first time I've ever voted. And you're talking to someone who's in their 40s or 50s, which I found rather interesting, but it was polarizing. I mean, it was truly a case where people had a feeling that they wanted to cast their ballot a certain way, and they wanted to participate. So yes, a lot of folks that I think the citizens are starting to see that yes, their vote does count. We're still working on trying to get away from or get the understanding that yes, they do count. We are counting your votes, and it has an impact. So I think that's helping it, or was it some of the driver behind the turnout?
It's no secret there were a number of national politicians and public servants who were, I don't know what the best way to put this.
Yes.
Skip terms like stolen election and fraud and stuff like that. People questioning the integrity of the election process, and I've known you for a long time. I'm going to speculate that really ticks you off because that's one of your biggest. I mean, that's a huge.
It is. It is
part of your very fiber.
That part was very disheartening. That's being nice. It just really did upset me. Ticked me off. That's even being nice. But yeah, it was the statements that were made and the rhetoric that came around concerning voting and elections. I think a lot of the mistakes on both sides, when they start talking about elections, they get two different things tied together. What we'll see is, and what we have seen, is that the ballots were counted correctly. Recounts showed that when the recount was conducted, you count the pieces of paper, you look at the results, they matched. But that's one part of an election, and that's where everything kind of gets rolled over into one thing when people say it was fraudulent. I don't think there was a case in the nation of people miscounting ballots. I'm willing to discuss what ballots were in the mix. However, along those lines, every state has their own rules. Constitution allows for states to conduct elections, and they have their own laws. As long as the state followed their laws, accepted the correct ballots that should have been accepted, then we saw that the ballots that were counted, the results were accurate. Now we're getting to the discussion comes down to should a ballot have been counted or not. That's going to change from state to state based on rules. But to say a blanket statement that it was fraudulent or election was stolen it really does upset me.
It upsets me too, and I don't do this for a living, but I have a vested interest in this. Let's before we move to the upcoming election tomorrow, and again we're just dealing with Chelan County, and we'll go through what would be on your ballot depending on where you live, of course, and where you're registered. I went online earlier last week and said, what's the status of my ballot? I live in the Wenatchee School District. I have to cast a ballot, or am asked to cast a ballot for their renewal of their EP and O levy. And I like the new reporting procedure. There's something that caught my eye, Skip, when you look back and to make sure that your ballot has been received at Skip's office and counted. Let folks know what it is.
Well, the big thing is that we track it through, and we're updating daily as we receive those. So there's no surprises, and we want a voter to know what's the status of their ballot, because real time. Let's say there was an issue with your ballot and that you failed to sign it, or that in our signature checking, and to remind everybody, yes, we do check every signature. Some other states may do it differently, but in Washington State, every signature is checked, and it's checked by a set of eyes against what's on the ballot and what's in the system. But if we run into issues, right off the bat, we can trigger notification to you. We send out a letter immediately. Within 24 hours, we've got a letter in the mail to let you know there's an issue. And this is all back to giving a person an opportunity to correct an error. Washington State, we do our best to ensure the vote counts. That's the key.
These are, none of these are bond issues. This is the first thing we need to address. Bonds are, of course, an entirely different scenario. It requires an X amount of voters to vote, and it requires a 60% supermajority. These are levies. Cascade, you got two of them. A replacement EP&O levy. These used to be called M&O levies. Now they're called Education Programs and Operations levy. So Cascade School District wants to replace one with another. They also have a capital levy for some specific programs. Again, Cascade School District. Manson is doing a replacement EP&O levy for the Manson School District. And the biggest school district in North Central Washington, the Wenatchee School District, wants to renew their already existing EP&O levy.
Yes.
I got all that correct, right?
You got it all right.
Again, you have to live within the physical confines of these school districts. So if you go, hey, I never got a ballot, well, that means you live outside of either the Wenatchee School District, the Cascade School District, or the Manson School District. There are some myths and misconceptions about how many people need to turn out and that kind of stuff because we're dealing with EP&O levies and capital levies and not bonds. Skip, please straighten this out for us, please.
Yes, it's every district has a difference. Even the districts within the state have different sets of rules. And based upon the type of district and the law that's in place, determines what is considered, when something's considered passed or not. Right now with levies and schools, the passage for a levy to pass is a simple majority, which is 50% or to pass or fail. To pass, it has to have 50% plus one ballot to have passed. That's a simple majority. Since these are all levies, they are in that category. There's no state, there's no there's not a number or validation number, which is the number used to determine X number has to participate at all. This is just a simple majority, which gets to people need to be involved to let their voices heard. Otherwise, it's very conceivable that you can have a number, you can have less than half the people in the district vote yes, or excuse me, you could have less than the half participate, and they vote yes or no. So now you're down to 25% of the eligible voters in that district are determining what this other 75% get. That's why turnout's so important.
Well, let's talk about turnout. The last time there was we'll use the Wenatchee EP&O levy. The last time they're asking to renew the levy that is already up and running. They're not asking for more money, just the same money that they've been getting for the last 4 years. In that election in February 4 years ago, there was a 44% turnout. Again, you have to be a registered voter in the Wenatchee School District. There's about 27,000 of those.
Right around 28,000, yes,
yeah,
sir.
About half the registered voters in Chelan County live in the Wenatchee School District boundaries. Your prediction for turnout for Tuesday?
Well, based upon some sneak peek, I've already been able to see some turnout thus far. It looks like we'll probably get right around to maybe 40%, maybe. Right now, we're looking at 30%.
That's what you have now so far? Or?
Yes, so far at this point. Okay. So, based upon what ends up in the drop boxes, we usually get a little good push right near the end, and we're coming right up to that. So, I'm hoping we get to 40%. It's unfortunate, but at times that's how this business works in the off-year elections. And here we are in February, and we even get phone calls at times that say, "Oh, well, I'm glad you finally got my November ballot to me." And no, ma'am, that's your February ballot. We're already voting on something different now, so that's fun.
One of the new things that the auditor's office has when you go and check your ballot, you can download as a PDF or a Excel file, is how you got your ballot, whether it was put in a drop box or whether it was mailed, and I think that's a neat little deal.
We're trying to get as much information out because there is concern. People are concerned, and rightfully so. How is this process working? Where are the ballots coming from? And the more information we can get to the voter will help us in the process, because I mail ballots out to everybody that's eligible. I assume they get them. Well, if they don't, I need to know, as well as if voters have moved and changed their address. We need that update too. This gives them an opportunity for a voter to see where it came from, the stats or where they're coming from, how their ballot was returned, and if it makes sense as to what they did. Because if you were to mail your ballot back, and then I was to show that it came back to me via Dropbox, you'd be concerned. You'd say, well, I put it in the mail, but you show Dropbox. Why is that? We're just trying to show more of the control. Excuse me, something in my eye.
That's okay.
More control of the process and how we're moving the ballots.
I liked it. I think it's a great addition. And as I mentioned before, it's super easy, and it's sorted by last name of registered voter. So if you're not sure if Skip has your ballot yet for Tuesday's election, go to the website, Skip's website. You can download either way, the PDF or the Excel, and it's alphabetical, and you just go down, and there's my name, Kuntz, and you got my mail, and you got my ballot, and my brother voted, my sister voted, and my mom, that kind of deal. It's all there. Then I can get a hold of my siblings who haven't voted yet and say, hey,
get on the phone.
Get off the schneid.
And we do get calls about that. Folks will get a call and say, I just received a call from someone who says, I haven't voted yet. How do they know how I voted? Well, then there's a discussion. They don't know how you voted. But it is a public record of who did vote. And that's important because to trust me, I need to show you all the people that participated and then what the results were. If I were not to show you who participated and then I just told you, here's the numbers and here's how it went, well, where's the integrity in that? I want to show you all the way along, or we as election officials want to show all the way along how it works so you know what's happening. And if you didn't vote, you're going to give me a call and say, wait, Skip, I didn't turn a ballot in. Why is my name on that list? That gives us an opportunity to figure that out as well.
Which is an extremely rare occurrence.
Very rare.
Who's
Very
getting who?
rare.
The bottom line is, unless you choose to share that information, the only person who really knows who or what you voted for is you.
That's right.
That's it.
That's right.
That's all there is to it. Again, I just want to recap this real quick. The Cascade School District, you got two things on your ballot, Proposition 1, Proposition 2. One is a replacement EP and O levy, replacing one that's set to expire. The other one is a specific capital levy for security and technology and stuff like that. In the Manson School District, number 19 is Proposition 1. It is a replacement EP and O levy. And in the Wenatchee School District, it is a renewal of a levy that is due to expire. That is the decisions that you will be making. If you do not live in those geographic areas, you didn't get a ballot. We are in the legislative session right now. Skip, what are some of the things that you and your 38 other colleagues in Washington State legislation that you're hoping to get passed, or are you keeping a close eye on as it affects the auditor's office?
Well, right now, there's not a whole lot of legislation that the auditors are pushing, or we have no legislation to change elections law. We've worked well with that. There is legislation that's been submitted by various groups and individuals to change things. However, our position is I'm not in the position of pushing policy. I'm in a position of talking about whether we can or can't do something. The process-wise, there's a bill to go to ranked choice voting. There's a bill to take us back to go back to poll site voting.
No, let's not go there. Sorry, I just editorialized.
No, I understand. I can do either one. I can't do both.
Yeah.
That's the difficult part when you're running two types of elections. But all of these legislations boil down to policy. And we, as elections administrators, don't want to get into the policy. The days of, there used to be a time where you put a white stone in or a black stone in a bag, and that's how the vote was conducted. If the legislature wants to pass along and have me do that, I will do that. Because that's the law, and I will do the best I can at it. So policy-wise is their decision. But I will be happy to chime in if they say, we got to go to poll sites. Well, if we're going to do that, let's talk about the machines are going to have to be purchased, the sites. Let's think about in the future if we're still wearing masks, all these things. So policy is one thing, implementing something else, and we get involved in that side of it and say, okay, yeah, well, we can do this, but are you willing to write a check for it? Or have you considered these certain things? Otherwise, policy, another thing we're working on is to finally get in state law a codification of recording requirements across the state. Each auditor, there's 39 of us, have the ability, 38 an elections director, but have the ability we can interpret the law unto ourselves based upon what our prosecuting attorney and what we look at. We're trying to get that codified so that across the state, when you go to record a document, you're going to pay the same fee. It's going to be called the same thing in every county in the state. That for us is a big thing, which will make a big difference for the public.
Vote, I'm the editorialize here. Vote by mail works. As Skip mentioned, they check your signature with the human eye. It's not a computer. It's almost impossible to manipulate it in any way. It increases turnout. It makes you a more informed voter because you can sit down and fill out your ballot over the period of days as you do your homework on candidates and initiatives. Vote by mail works. Let's not turn back the clock there. One more question, Skip, and I'll cut you loose because we're running out of time. It's a question I ask this time of the year. This is, again, the school districts are the only thing that's out there. Who's paying for this election? Who's footing the bill?
The school districts themselves. Every jurisdiction who has something on the ballot will get an appropriate or an apportioned cost of the election. We throw the costs in for this, so we sent out about 34,000 ballots to cover these 3 districts. What we do is we have a formula, we throw all the costs in, staff costs, ballot costs, all those things are thrown in one big pot. We come up with a basic formula, price per voter. It gets allocated back to the district based upon how many people they have in their district.
So the Wenatchee School District is paying for the bulk of this. Cascade, not so much, and Manson probably the
even
least
less.
of all.
Yes,
Right,
it'll
gotcha.
work out, and when it all shakes out, you'll probably see Wenatchee School District will probably pay close to 60% of this. The other 30% will be divided up between Manson and Cascade.
Skip Moore, and again, you can save Skip and his crew, and they're all great people who work in the auditor's office, not just the elections department, but everybody who works in Skip's department. You can save them a lot of headache about your ballot if you're confused by going online to their website and seeing if they got your ballot. It's super easy to do. Only if you really have a significant concern should give them a call. But give them a call if you do, because they're pros there. They know what they're doing. And Skip and his crew go out of their way to make sure that if you want to vote and you're eligible to vote, that you can do it. It's as simple as that. Skip, happy Election Day.
Happy Election Day. We're there.
Skip Moore, Chelan County Auditor. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be back.
Doghouse Motorsports just won Best Motorsports Store for the 7th year in a row. Is it the great facility? Is it the fantastic products? Or is it?
I'm Bobby.
And I'm Tabor.
I'm Mike. And I'm Glenn.
Hi, I'm Todd.
I'm Jeff.
And this is the Doghouse Service Team.
Hi, I'm Dee.
And I'm Dwayne.
And I'm Kathy.
Come on in and experience the Doghouse.
Are you in the Doghouse?
It's estimated that 1/3 of Americans do not have a financial plan. At D.A. Davidson, their advisors are working to change that because they understand the importance of planning for the future. At D.A. Davidson, they believe in partnering together to build a strategy tailored to your needs. They spend the time and have the knowledge to help keep your financial future on track. Let D.A. Davidson Financial Advisors of Wenatchee put the strength of advice to work for you.
You don't have to be a member to enjoy the view and dine in style at Highlander Bar and Grill in East Wenatchee. Highlander Grill offers breakfast, lunch, and dinner with dine-in or takeout options. Highlander Grill's friendly staff is here to serve you 7 days a week this winter. Contact Chelan, Highlander Grill's site coordinator, to schedule your corporate event or special occasion. Merry Maids of Wenatchee has been professionally cleaning and sanitizing homes and businesses in North Central Washington since 1998. Merry Maids uses commercial-grade cleaners and viricides. Merry Maids has implemented additional safety and sanitation protocols. They are strictly following CDC guidelines for the safety of their clients and employees. For expert help with cleaning and sanitizing your home or business, call or look up Merry Maids of Wenatchee to schedule your free estimate today.
Just about 30 seconds left in this program. Real quickly, gonna get cold. All that sunny, warm weather that we had in the early part, it's gone. Forget about it. 38 today, it's just a little bit below normal. There you go, bitterly cold and windy. But check out the forecast, especially look at the overnight low on Thursday night into Friday. 9 degrees. The coldest stretch of weather we've had so far this winter is almost here. Have a good and safe Monday. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.